Live, local. This is First Alert Weather Extra.
Hey, welcome. It's Mark Nelson here in the First Alert Weather Center. This is our First Alert Weather Extra. As far as I know, the only weather show here in Portland. We like to do this at around 7 o'clock every evening, weekdays. And I've got Payton Major, one of our other meteorologists, with us. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Are you thawing a turkey right now? Are you hosting? Are you going somewhere? What's the deal?
My mom's hosting, which will be fun.
Nice.
I'm also working though, so you'll see me here. If you're super lonely on Thanksgiving, it's okay. It happens to all of us. You can tune in.
Yeah, of course I should know since I make the schedule what you were doing. But
yeah, come on, Mark.
I'm leaving town tomorrow, so it's all you and Camilla tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll be
all right,
okay.
so I think the big message is, wouldn't you agree, looking at the weather maps, it's pretty mild.
Yeah, real mild, especially after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, which we'll cover in great detail here. That's what we like to do in this show. Just give you a little more of an expanded look at the weather around the region. Sometimes we go other places as well. We're going to talk about travel weather. Well, here, let me not stand in the way. We'll cover the wet weather. Maybe not so wet. Did you see the 0Z model graph?
Shoot, there's nothing left.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, there's some left. We'll see. I didn't actually look at the rainfall total yet, so we'll see.
Yeah.
And then holiday travel, you're going to cover that, right? Okay. And then I've got just a few more thoughts on the dry late weekend. So let's just jump into it. Our 7-day forecast right now looks like this. We've got a 4-day weekend coming up, Thursday through Sunday. We've got 2 wet days, maybe not that wet, and then 1, 2, 3 dry days. So not so bad coming up here, and maybe some showers next Tuesday, but that's kind of a question mark. When you look at this, there's nothing that really sticks out. There is a slight trend downward in the second half of the 7-day forecast, a little bit during the daytime, but more so at nighttime. If we get some clearing in here, I would expect temperatures to drop down into the 30s. Not any sort of Arctic freeze, but it's going to be cooler. So it is cool and wet out there. I was getting gassed up earlier today. It was like 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and it was pretty chilly out there, mid-40s. I mean, this is more or less our winter weather. I mean, if we just had this weather, highs in the 40s to around 50, all the way through winter and through early February, this would be pretty typical weather. So we have pretty mild winters. All right, so we had this band of rain moving through. Looks like it's beginning to dry out. So far, here are the 7 p.m. numbers. It's been, some solid rain, about a 1/4 inch, looks like in a good chunk of the metro, some approaching a 1/2 inch, but less down there at Salem and less out in the gorge, east end of the gorge at least as well. So if you just look at the rain the last 10 days, yeah, we picked up a 1/4 inch. That now puts us up over 3 inches for the month. Typically, we end up over 5, 5.5 inches. So my gut feeling is we're going to end up pretty close to normal. All right, so very light rain tomorrow, very light rain, dry at times. Calm wind, that's point number 1. Point number 2, it does look wetter on Thanksgiving Day, especially in the morning, and maybe again after dark, as you'll see. And then likely dry Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's an atmospheric river. It is pretty weak. What'd you say, Peyton, earlier? Was it level 1 or 2 when you look at the website? Yeah, which is beneficial stuff. It's good for our mountains to recharge the dry aquifers from summertime. So that's there, and then you can see a more organized area of low pressure developing way out here. That's what's going to arrive for Thanksgiving Day. All right, so we wake up tomorrow. The band of rain that's over us is pretty much gone, and it looks like it kind of reforms as a warm front out here to our south. So this would imply some of us just wake up to dry weather. It's just gray, very gray everywhere, and some snow may have fallen out at Baker City for sure, maybe over Ladd Canyon or Meacham. It'll be like 34 degrees, 32 degrees. All right, so beyond that, that band of very narrow band of rain comes through midday, so then it's wet. But then by afternoon, it's drying out, so 7 p.m. So between 1 and 7, it probably dries out. And I got to tell you, one time I scheduled a school visit on the opposite side of the metro area that I live in. I scheduled it for like 1 p.m. on the day before Thanksgiving. Good Lord, that was the worst traffic I'd ever seen. So everybody hits the freeway anytime from like noon onward on the day before Thanksgiving. So this is good for travel weather because we don't see, huge soaking rain for the afternoon commute. No wind either, by the way. Tomorrow's pretty quiet. Ooh, and then you see that? The nice curly Q, the area of low pressure offshore. This is Thursday, 5 a.m., so turkey trot's about to begin. This does look wetter, all right? But then maybe a break. That's not all that wet middle of the day on Thanksgiving if this modeling is correct. Each model is going to be slightly different on the details, but you still see that area of low pressure here. And we were thinking it'd be pretty breezy and warm on Thanksgiving Day. Instead, this area of low pressure is kind of coming in maybe just to our south as it dies. That keeps a light easterly breeze going. So yes, it'll probably be warm in the valley Thanksgiving Day, maybe not so much in the metro. But as this goes by just to the south, that gives us some pretty solid precipitation, areas of yellow. So there could be some good downpours well after dark on Thanksgiving, maybe as we are sleeping. That's probably where we're going to get most of our rain. Then it pulls out of here by Friday morning. That's a little bit of snow in the Blue Mountains Friday morning, by the way. But this is, do people still line up at stores, Peyton?
I don't know. I don't know if
Are
they
they
do.
still lining up at stores on Black Friday at 5 a.m.? I think probably a spot or two, right?
Probably.
Probably dry. We're thinking maybe a leftover shower. Then that's it. The rest of the day is partly cloudy. That's Friday afternoon. So there you go. So forecast rain, I have not looked at these numbers. So this says through Wednesday evening. So through tomorrow evening, ½ inch. So that's just as that band goes through. And then not all that much through 5 p.m. Thursday. There you go. We've got another ¼ inch. So it's not that heavy on Thursday until we get to the late night hours, late evening and nighttime. So we may have 1 inch to 1.5 inches, it looks like. That's what we're seeing right now. All right, let's talk about Cascade update. Not happy about that, because clearly I'm not going to be skiing for another 1.5 weeks at least. You can see this is the best we can do at the end of November. 35 degrees at the base of Ski Bowl, so government camp is just wet right now with snow mixed in. It seems to be mainly snow up here, but clearly there are some raindrops mixed in. It's right at freezing up at 5,000 feet. Snow level only goes up tonight, so it's not like this is the beginning of any sort of snow. Snow levels above the Cascade passes all the way through Sunday morning. It's just dry here, so it won't matter anyway. So the next real chance for snow at the Cascade passes is at some point the middle of next week. So again, we're not going to see any ski areas open up this weekend, and it might be tough to do next weekend as well. So coastline, light rain at times, dry and later, temperatures in the mid-50s. Easterly breezes start to turn southerly as that low pressure approaches the coastline tomorrow evening. So here in the valleys, a little warmer than today in spots. I mean, right around 50. Today we had trouble getting up to 50. Not much wind, drier by sunset. Hey, Peyton, let's not forget, I want to fix that between shows here. It's off-centered. That's really bothering me.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to fix it. We're going to get on top of that. Oh, that one's much better, isn't it? In the Columbia River Gorge, light rain at times, just easterly breeze and not strong. 40s, the Dalles, you might touch 50. And in the gorge, it's off and on stuff. You could go 2, 3, 4 hours and it's dry. Light rain at times on Mount Hood and a little warmer, 44 Government Camp, 38, 40 Timberline and Meadows. So snow level at 8,000 feet. And then we go east of the Cascades, mainly dry, a shower or two. Again, there could be a patch of snow on the ground above La Grande or probably not Baker City, maybe just in the hills right around town. But warming in Central Oregon, low 50s out there. All right, last thing, I think you know the answer here if you've been watching us the last few days. Coastal storm update. This is the time of the year it can be really stormy. Big areas, deep areas of low pressure, huge waves, maybe big waves, but definitely no big areas of low pressure. Here's the wind gust forecast, and I mentioned that swirling low approaching the coastline on Thursday. So here's right now, any color is gusts 30 or higher, yellow is gusts 50 or higher, all right? Ooh, that looks kind of nice. That's that area of low pressure. Here's Thanksgiving morning. There's a southerly breeze along the coast. Turkey trots there will be breezy from the south. Not much makes it into the valley, though. And then that low falls apart, and we just went all the way through Sunday. Nothing of any significance wind-wise happens all the way through Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Does it go any further? Is that it? Wednesday, oh my gosh, there's nothing going on at the coastline after that system on Thanksgiving Day. Wave height forecast, that does set up some pretty big waves as it develops on Thanksgiving Day. So that'll probably come in Thanksgiving afternoon and evening, some relatively high surf. But if you're going to the coast this weekend after Thanksgiving, look at Friday, Saturday, I mean, it's below 10 feet. This is lower than normal for this time of the year. Basically very low wave action, and that continues through Monday. So again, 7-day forecast. I don't want to forget, there were 2 other things I wanted to point out here. Let's see, Thursday, yeah, we covered that, Black Friday. Saturday, that's right. Likely dry, 51 degrees here. But if you're driving to Pullman, look at this nice graphic Peyton made a little bit earlier. Washington State is hosting Oregon State, and it will be much cooler there. Yes, it's 51 in Portland on Saturday. But over there, partly to mostly cloudy skies, a few flurries here and there. That's it. We don't expect like snow, probably not a set that would bring snow down, onto the Palouse hills there. So chilly, but that's kind of what you expect there for that game on Thanksgiving weekend. And then again, looks dry Monday and Tuesday of next week. Oh, and I know it's a stretch, but we'd have to have perfectly clear skies and calm wind. Could we finally have a frost in Portland? It would be time by December 1st. We'll see if that actually occurs. All right, Peyton, everybody's driving somewhere or flying somewhere. What do you have?
Yeah, it's true. Whether it's 5 minutes down the road or maybe you're driving to a whole other state or flying across the country. So first, let's go over local conditions. We mentioned obviously very wet the next couple of days. You're going to want to turn on your windshield wipers. And by the way, before you head out, just do the normal precautions. Make sure your windshield wipers are in decent shape. And anytime you turn on your windshield wipers, turn on your lights too. Just a good rule of thumb so drivers around you can see you better. Looking at the road conditions though, we are now looking at Cascade Passes as we mentioned earlier. Maybe some slushy spots tonight, but that snow level is rising quickly, and so we have no travel concerns through the passes all the way through Black Friday. Road conditions east I-84 through the Gorge, bare roads, but when we go to the Blue Mountains, mainly bare. I think we could see some snowy spots tonight and also Friday. Okay, and then let's also talk about I-5 and 26. Basically no concerns. You could see bare roads all across the board there. Okay, if you want to take this full and we can take a look at some of these rain totals that we're expecting. Again, this atmospheric river is dying out quickly, so we're not expecting any crazy rain. I showed you that graphics just so you can see the rain doesn't stretch inwards. And I want to touch on the flurries here. Again, as Mark said, we're not going to probably see any kind of accumulation at the game, but don't be surprised if you're wondering if it's all of a sudden snowing just because you see some of those flurries floating around the sky. All right, nationwide view here. You can see two lows kind of back to back, little twins there. However, the first one's been a little stronger. Second one's pulling some real cold Arctic air from Canada. Let's first talk about that one that's a little more east. This one has caused some pretty good heavy rain, even some good wind and hail. I've looked at some storm reports over the last 24 hours. You can see some hail reports. That little house there, I think, is a oh, no, that's wind damage. Just kidding. And you can't see behind Jackson, Mississippi, there's a little tornado report there. So that's the only tornado report I've seen, at least in the last 24 hours. I know there's a lot of delays in Dallas and Houston yesterday. Haven't checked out today, but I'm assuming it's not as intense because this system has weakened. And this is just today's severe storm outlook for the remainder of the day. So really low isolated risk for severe storms. And as that scoots to the east tomorrow, not really crazy. I mean, that lighter shade of green just means we're probably not going to see any severe warned storms, but it could still be heavy rain, wind, whatever. We may see some very isolated little delays if you're headed to D.C. or even the panhandle of Florida. Okay, forecast rain. Again, the system's weakening, not much going on. When we look at the northern half of the U.S., though, that's where we're seeing some pretty good snowfall. So I'm going to say no major concerns locally, just wet. Again, check the windshield wipers. Flight delays, southeast, kinda. That's kind of an asterisk just because it's really only just for the rest of today into tomorrow. And then Great Lakes region. This is the area I really want you to focus on. If you're headed anywhere near the Great Lakes, even after Thanksgiving, you may run into some delays. There's some good snowfall going there, probably 1 to even 5 or 6 inches. We're talking Michigan, obviously Minnesota, the Dakotas, and also east going into the northeast there. Other than that, after Thanksgiving, it's pretty quiet. We'll see a couple little fronts roll through the U.S., but nothing to write home about. We may see, again, isolated delays because it's Thanksgiving and it's crazy at the airports, but we're just talking weather-wise. I think after Thanksgiving, we'll definitely see far less delays than before. Mark?
So coming home, big message is coming home is much easier in most areas.
Yeah, I mean, also I feel like people go home at different paces, whereas before the holidays, it's just all or nothing. Everyone's trying to get there before Thursday. So, yeah, hopefully you don't have any delays or concerns. I know it's very stressful. It was cheaper to fly on Friday. My family and I are coming back Friday evening. Oh, really? I don't need to be giving you the flight numbers and details, but it looks good. Well, one other thing I pointed out, let me back up one. I wanted to show you something on the 7-day forecast. Hopefully I put it in the right place. Yeah, I think I did. All right, so, notice we have this dry weather Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's grayified here, I think. Wow. Christmas light hanging. I got to get mine done. I like to wait. Well, I don't always like to wait until after Thanksgiving, but I don't turn them on until after Thanksgiving. I'm a purist. Yeah, so it looks pretty good. Friday through Sunday, good for hanging the lights, so no excuse there. We'll even get some sunshine both of those days. All right, then let's jump ahead. Next 7 to 10 days, so this takes us through December 3rd. I don't see any lowland snow, nothing below 2,000 feet. We're going to have just little weak weather systems coming down the Canadian and the southeast Alaskan coastline, coming down into the Pacific Northwest. At this point, we don't see any of those digging far enough offshore. Basically, none of them don't appear to look like they're going to bring any Arctic air south. Okay, I made that way too complicated. Basically, we don't see any Arctic air coming south out of Western Canada. Wow, so no incoming cold. Windstorm, no. We just don't have any storminess, as I mentioned, and that doesn't give us any flooding either. So kind of quiet once we get past the downpours, maybe Thanksgiving evening, Thanksgiving night. All right. Yes. I think we covered it all. I may want to touch on one more thing. I think I skipped over this graphic by accident. Let's see it. Just
oh
to
yeah,
show,
snow. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know where this graphic went. It disappeared. Anyway, okay, so the Rockies here, that's where we're seeing a lot of the snow. This is the snow forecast through Friday morning, by the way. And I want to just show you the Great Lakes region so you can see what I mean when we're looking at delays. I mean, especially if you're going to Wisconsin, I'm looking, even Cleveland's getting a few inches of snow, headed into the west side of New York. So just something to watch if you have friends, family coming and going from there. But that's really the only concern. Again, this is headed into the days following Thanksgiving as well. Just really cold Arctic air. If you're wondering where the cold air is, that's where it is. We're not going to get that for a while. That's all.
I want to show up in Apple Valley, and I bet they have a nice warm apple pie there, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks kind of a fun place.
I don't know where it is, but somewhere around Minneapolis. Okay, we get to sit here and yuck it up for hours, but I don't think we need to do that, right?
No.
Music is up. That means we're going to get escorted off. Thanks for joining us for First Alert Weather Extra. We will be back here again tomorrow night at 7 p.m., or at least Camilla and Peyton will be back here at 7 p.m. And we'll have a fresh podcast coming up next week for that first week of December as well. Next show, right here, Foxborough streaming app in 45 minutes, 8 p.m. We'll see you then.